Hello everyone, welcome to study Chinese medicine with me. Today we are going to study a course which is called Traditional Chinese Medicine. We usually briefly say TCM. Let's see chapter 1 first, General Introduction of TCM. Two sections are included in this chapter. Now let's start from section 1, Introduction of TCM. Before we go through the whole contents, let me ask you a question. If someday you get sick, having the symptoms such as fever, headache, sore throat, aversion to cold, what are you going to do? Yes, saying a doctor. I think most of us need to find some help from our doctors when we get sick, right? Commonly, we go to see a Western doctor. The first thing our doctor or nurse usually doing is to measure our body temperature. After that, the doctor may do a body examination for the patient, and if it is necessary, blood test or imaging examinations like X-ray, CT, MRI may be asked to do. Based on the results of all the examinations, the doctor would give a diagnosis like common cold, acute tonsillitis caused by viruses or secondary bacterial infections. According to the diagnosis, the treatment often to be chosen by the doctor to relieve the symptoms. For example, a commonly used medicine, which is paracetamol, may be prescribed to help the patient to relieve the symptoms of fever and pain. Under some conditions, the antibiotics or antivirus medicine may be used by the doctor to fight with the pathogens if the doctor finds the evidence of such pathogens. Let's imagine a different situation. You may have another choice, saying a Chinese medical doctor. The doctor often checks your tongue and feeling your pulse, and at the same time ask you some questions around your symptoms or signs. You will find that no blood test, no imaging examinations during the whole checking process. Based on the results from the checking, the patient may be diagnosed such as external wind cold syndrome or external wind heat syndrome, etc. According to the diagnosis, one or more therapeutic methods will be selected from the Chinese medical treatment like Chinese herbs, acupuncture, massage, scraping, cupping, etc. From the simple case, we can see there are quite a lot of difference between the Western medicine and TCM on their history, recognition of the body, and diagnostic technologies, as well as therapeutic methods. Therefore, we should think about what is traditional Chinese medicine. What are the main features of TCM? What kind of medical system does the TCM belong to? TCM has a history of several thousands of years. Its origin can be traced back to remote antiquity. In a long course of struggling against disease, TCM evolved into a unique and integrated theoretical system which has rich and varied clinical experience. So we say that TCM is a unique, worldwide, outstanding traditional medicine. The history of the origin of TCM is infused with the history of human civilization. It is the history of ancient people fighting for survival and development, as well as fighting against disease. Therefore, TCM is a well of medical knowledge gained from over 4,000 years of observation, investigation, and clinical experience. TCM has plenty of empirical science. Its theories and treatments have been repeatedly in use and refined over this long period of time. It's also a way of life, a kind of culture. TCM will give you a lot of ideas to adapt yourself to the nature, to cultivate yourself a simple, natural, detached life. The TCM developed with the development of Chinese culture. TCM, like a big tree that is planted in the earth of traditional Chinese culture, it is connected and infiltrated with all aspects of traditional Chinese culture. It has been an important part and one of the main carriers of traditional Chinese culture. Traditional Chinese culture is the soul of TCM, while TCM is a very important part of traditional Chinese culture with medical features. There are some effects of traditional Chinese culture on TCM. The effects are mainly reflected on the following three aspects. First one, the concept of holism. TCM regards the human body itself as an organic whole interconnected by zangfu organs, meridians, and collaterals. TCM also holds that the human body is closely related to the outside world. Second one, obey the rules in the nature. Human being as a part of nature depend on the nature to live. So human being needs to adapt themselves to the changes of the nature, like the change of seasons or the change of the climate. Third one, balance means health. Just like Chinese culture advocates balance, Chinese medicine emphasizes the importance of balance between yin and yang. Most of the treatment of TCM are tried to restore the balance between yin and yang by using different therapeutic methods. Since the founding of New China, our government has paid great attention to inheriting and developing the heritage of TCM. A series of policies and measures have been taken for developing TCM. In 1986, the State Administrative Bureau of TCM and Material Medical was established. This leading body is the guarantee of developing TCM and Material Medical smoothly. So, TCM and its development are regulated by the government in China. TCM is now available to 75% of the areas in China, and it is good at treating about 70% of all disease of the human beings. TCM has been very effective in the treatment of disease such as chronic inflammation, chronic pains, functional imbalance, disorder of the immune system, viral infection, proliferative disease, degenerative conditions, as well as sub-health standards, and various chronic and difficult health problems, etc. Scientific research and clinical experiments in TCM are continuously progressing. Both of the TCM and Western medicine are being used to provide medical and health services in China. Hospitals in China are classified as specialized in Western medical system, TCM, or both. The affiliate hospital of our university is a hospital which integrated both Chinese and Western medicine. In our hospital, the Chinese herbs, acupuncture, and intravenous infusion are all used clinically. The picture is my university. It has a pretty campus and about 20,000 students. There are 25 major universities of TCM in China, courses ranging from undergraduate to the doctoral in both Western medicine and TCM. TCM is still widely used nowadays because TCM has significant clinical therapeutic effects with minimal side effects. It may have better effects on some disorders, metabolic disorders, emotional disorders, etc. It has great contribution for the treatment of some life-threatening disorders, such as cancer. It has rich theoretical and clinical experience. Although some of the theory in TCM cannot be explained clearly in terms of modern medicine or modern science, it guides the clinical practice effectively. Now, the brilliance of TCM, particularly acupuncture, is shining forth and making contributions to the health care of people all over the world. Acupuncture has successfully become the World Heritage since 2010. TCM has already spread to over 180 countries and regions, especially acupuncture. Therefore, TCM has given the great contribution for achieving the aim of WHO, Health for All. Okay, that's a brief introduction of TCM. From the introduction, I hope you are getting to know about TCM, and we will study more about TCM in the following classes. That's all for today. Looking forward to seeing you in next section.